This bush burnt pretty hot. Obviously the earth was blackened, pretty much all the vegetation was vaporised. A lot of people wanted to help revegetate, and essentially we had an issue. We didn't have any local plants. Everybody was bringing in plants from different areas, but the problem with that is it's not local genetics. So we decided, right, we know we have lots of rare and endangered species. We want to focus on them. We want to get their numbers up and then start planting populations in and around town to act as an insurance population and hopefully put a few plants out in the wild. We also identified areas that were severely burnt, particularly our coastal areas, and we worked on getting species that grow really rapidly and help stabilise the soil, because when you get a fire come through, everything's vaporised basically, and you get heaps of water running through the landscape. That puts excess nutrients within your waterways, and that's not too good for fish populations. So we wanted to put plants in that grow really quickly and stabilise the landscape. We also wanted to promote biodiversity, because you don't want just a homogeneous stand of one species. You want to put different species in there that benefit different things. So we're focusing on your birds, your lizards, all sorts of things that we want to put habitat and structure back into the surrounding landscape to help our wildlife recover.
We've put together a really good seed bank since the fire, because after the fire there was no seed available in the district. So we've been walking around and driving around looking for seed supplies to start a nursery like this, and it's taken a year to get basic seed back together in a seed bank so that we can start propagating.
So one species that we really wanted to work with is the shipwreck Banksia croginlongensis. So we've got this amazing relationship with the Royal Botanic Gardens in Melbourne, and they've actually sent down seed for the Banksia croginlongensis, and we've been able to grow them within this amazing nursery facility.
You can see how small this plant is, and that's just about fully grown. Tiny Spiridium it's called, and it's one of the rare plants around Mallacoota. And these are called Alocasuarina littoralis, the she oak. This one's particularly important in Mallacoota because it's the feed tree of the glossy black cockatoo. We're going to plant 500 on a property not far from Mallacoota. These are the local lily-pilly, and they get quite large. These ones, the seed was collected from over the other side of the lake from Mallacoota at the Methodist Ladies College, Marshmead.
We've been working with Envite, La Trobe University and the Friends of Mallacoota, and we're starting to find these plants again, which is really good to see. So out in the wild, we've only observed plants that are resprouting, and we reckon the reason we're not seeing any reseeding is because all the animals have been eating the seed and the fruits before they get a chance to germinate. Resprouting's good. You get the same plant back, but reseeding, obviously there's a pollination fertilization process there, and you get different plants that are genetically different. So growing all these plants up are going to be really good for the genetics of this local rainforest species.
So this is a Mallacoota gum, and it's only found just around town in Mallacoota, and it's a natural hybrid between a blue gum and a grey gum. These ones were grown from seed from the really big one in town, and it's very, very old. It was probably here when Captain Cook sailed past in 1770.
We've also got a variety of rare and endemic calistemons. So we've got the Betka bottlebrush, Calistemon kenmorrisonii. That's only found on the Betka River and in a couple of really small populations. With the Royal Botanic Gardens and seed that was collected before the fires, we've been able to grow up lots of those species and distribute them all around town.
2 years after the fire, you can see driving around that there's some really, really good growth here. And that's mainly because of the rainfall we've had, of course, after the fire. But, the Australian landscape is quite well adapted to fire. At the moment, down on the coast, we've got this big creeper called a Canidia, which has taken over. Some people are thinking, oh, that must be a weed, but it's a native, and it's one of the first succession plants to give other things shade to come up. The Melaleucas might come up after the Canidia, and it's a fairly short-lived plant. And it's a succession of different plants that go through the stage leading up to a mature forest again. And it takes a long time for that to happen.
After the fires, plants flower at different times. So you get some plants that were flowering straight after the fires, but here we've got sunshine wattle, Acacia terminalis, and 2 years on after the fire, it's having its first flowering seasons since, which is pretty special because once these guys flower, that's going to be a massive resource for all your pollinators, and then also the aftermath of that, all the seed. And acacia seed is really important for all your insects and also your bird species as well. So it's just fantastic to see the bush recovering like this.